base president for American Airlines APFA, the Association of Professional Flight Attendants.
You don't mind this, do you? You don't mind me filming?
Tim, what are you guys doing out here today?
We are here to tell Barbara Lee that she needs to support the PSP extension and to get our flight attendants back to work. We've got over 24,000 flight attendants at United out of a job and over 8,000 flight attendants at American that are been furloughed. So we need Congress to step up and do their job and pass the PSP bill.
How many folks do you represent here in the Bay Area?
It's San Francisco for American Airlines. I represent over 400 folks, but we've had about 70 of them furloughed.
Are you one of them?
No, I'm not one of them. I'm junior now, so I'm towards the bottom of the seniority list. At 24 years, I'm close to being furloughed, but I'm still safe for now.
Are you concerned that if this doesn't get passed, things will change?
It's very tough for the folks that are that have been furloughed. Their lives dependent on it. You know, the money of working for the airline industry. We bring a lot of money and jobs here to the Bay Area, so having them not have a job, it really puts a strain on their financial situation. They're unable to pay their mortgage or their rent. Families are now having to uproot and go live with other family members or parents out of state. So it's a hard thing that they're having to deal with, and with unemployment insurance being cut, that's also taken a toll on them.
Tim, are you from the Bay Area?
Yes, I'm from the Far East Bay.
Okay, so are you also going to be doing these demonstrations in front of other Congress peoples?
Yes, we've been through different offices, through different states. We've been out in Florida, Texas, up in the Chicago area, down in Los Angeles, just making our voices heard that they need to pass the PSP and bring our flight attendants back to a job.
Has it been up for a vote yet?
No, it has not. They're still negotiating out the deals.
So why here? Why for
Barbara Lee we've heard that she is sort of backing off on her stance, and she's talking about trying to pass this PSP after the election, and we'd like to see that PSP pass now so we can get our flight attendants back to work.
Your hope is that it's actually making it forward?
Yes, we hope it's going to go up for a vote, and we need her support along with everybody else in Congress to make this happen.
I know. You did good.
Could I ask a question?
No.
Okay.
Can I get your sense?
When you're done.
Sure. So, I'm sorry, what did you need from me? Sure, it's Caitlin White, Kaitlin, and the last name is White, White.
Caitlin, and what airline do you work for?
I work for United Airlines.
United. How many guys do you guys represent here today in the Bay Area?
In San Francisco, I represent approximately 5,000 flight attendants.
And how many of you guys have been furloughed?
2,400.
It's devastating.
It is devastating. And while some of those furloughs are voluntary, the vast majority are not. The junior flight attendant in San Francisco right now is May 18th, 1999. And that is a split.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So say that again.
Sure. Where did I start?
We're talking about how devastating 2,500 jobs, and that's if they don't get to pass it in PSP, could it turn into more for you guys?
It could. The PSP extension is essential for us. We are seeing a devastating loss at United Airlines, especially at our larger bases like San Francisco, where it is such a high number at 2,400. As I can't express it, it is more than half of that is involuntary furloughs. We also have an additional 595 flight attendants who have been forced into part-time work. Flight attendants who have been in here since May 18th, 1999 are having to make dramatic choices, either take involuntary furlough, work part-time, or just leave for a period of time, with or without a choice. I mean, we have to make these choices based on health care. We need the PSP to pass now. We need to get our flight attendants back to work. We do not have the luxury to wait for the election. We want the PSP today.
Okay, it's not been on the floor to vote. I'll ask the same thing of you that I said to Tim. I said, so
As of this point, it has not been on the floor to vote. We know that this is bipartisan supported. We know that senators have signed off on doing this. Representatives like Barbara Lee are supportive of the PSP, but we are at a time crunch, and we need them to be supportive and getting it to the floor now and not waiting for November 3rd.
And you're here today to give a voice to
To give
how
a
many people?
to give a voice to the 5,000 flight attendants I represent, and also for the 26,000 flight attendants at United Airlines system-wide.
Have you been let go, or are you still working?
I am put into the program called the Involuntary Furlough Mitigation Program, where I still have a job, but I am capped on my hours.
How many years you been?
I will have 20 years in December. It is a long time.
But these are definitely strange times.
This is not anything like we've ever seen. I was here for 9/11. All of this, we've been through this. I was here for bankruptcy. I was here for the SARS war, and when we made cuts, for the SARS and then the Iraq war, when all of that came together, we saw cuts then too, but this is very different. We've never seen the industry hit in this mechanism where people just don't want to fly. And this is not, as a reminder, this is not about bailing out the airlines. This is about supporting workers and keeping people employed. This does not fund the airlines, this funds the paychecks, and we want to get flight attendants paid.
Are you, I'm going to ask the answer to Tim, are you going to be at other Congress people's offices protesting, bringing a voice?
We are doing this. Barbara Lee has been incredibly supportive, and we want to say thank you for that support. But again, we want to highlight the realities that we need this vote to come to the floor. We need this to get done. We thank Barbara Lee for her support, and we want to show that support today, but we also want this vote to be passed.
Could I ask you a question?
You know what, if you cannot do it, I'm online right now,
So,
you can go
okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, both of you, if you like. I mean, I wanted to ask because I think they got about 200 billion right in the first. You're going to have to move closer if you want to.
Who are you with?
I'm a retired union guy who has a blog.
Okay.
But I wrote a couple of pieces about this issue.
Okay.
I think they got about 200 billion last time, and they're debating it now. What I wondered has not the issue of the nationalization of the airlines arisen, because when you think of it, basically the taxpayer has been paying the wages up to now, which is a good thing. I'm not opposed to that. But I wondered about the question of the nationalization of the airlines, and I know that the N word is a frightening word over here, but I mean at least the question of public ownership of them, because the investors in the airlines are not really concerned about workers; they're concerned about their profits. And I wondered if that's been batted about at all within the
We're
union.
here to support the workers, and that's a much bigger topic that we just aren't.
So it's not been raised by, because I know.
Not at our level.
Not at our.
Yeah.
We're
So
base presidents and the MEC level, but that starts at the top of the food chain with the unions and
Yeah.
the airlines.
I remember Sarah Nelson raised the question of the general strike. Remember during the government shutdown, I think it was.
That is
I mean, yeah. It just seems to me the time is right to call for the public ownership of the airlines and keep you working and tax.
Yeah, that's something that the senior leadership of the unions can address.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
You.